All right. So I do executive coaching for entrepreneurs. This particular group is called Kingdom Business Mentors. It's for Christian entrepreneurs. And in that event, we'll be talking about kingdom leadership, marketing, and sales. And so I'm trying to see, to have a community to go beyond just that event. What would be an ideal model for the mastermind that I would like to offer?
Well,
You know,
since you're calling it Kingdom Business Mentors, a great model would be King Solomon's model. That's the model I use.
hmm
Now, what does that even mean? I got a whole YouTube video on it, but I'll share some of the components of that with you just really quickly. King Solomon's business model was this. He was a consultant to his contemporaries. What does
hmm
that mean? King Solomon was a king who God gave wisdom to above all people. God gave Solomon so much wisdom about how to be a king. When other kings and queens came to him and wanted him to teach them how he ran his kingdom so smoothly, God gave him the wisdom not to give away the stuff that God gave to him. He gave him the wisdom to charge for it. Right? So if you are a coach, like one of the groups of people, if you're successful at it, that would be good to coach is coaches on how to be more successful as coaches. Okay, cool. He wasn't just a consultant to his contemporaries, he was also a communicator to the crowds. The scripture tells us so if you want to see where all this stuff is that I'm talking about, 1 Kings chapter 3, 1 Kings chapter 4, 1 Kings chapter 9, 2 Chronicles chapter 9. Be a good place to start. Okay.
hmm
He was a communicator to crowds. The scripture says all the people on earth came to Solomon and paid him to learn his wisdom. Well, let me ask you a question. Could Solomon talk to all the people on earth at one time? At the same,
No.
I mean, one-on-one? No. He had to get them in a group, in a room, in a stadium. By the way, if you go to the ancient world, you will see that they have stadiums that are built from stone that were built thousands of years ago that hold 10,000 people, 18,000 people, 35,000 people, and somebody can stand down on the bottom where the stage is and talk without any amplification. Everybody all the way up on the top row can hear him. So, and it says that when the people came to Solomon to pay him to learn his wisdom, they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold and furs and trees. And so Solomon charged not just his contemporaries, but he also charged the crowds. So that's the second component. So you have one offer for your kings, which are the people who are your contemporaries. You have a separate offer for the crowds. It's not going to be as much because they don't have as much money as the kings, because the kings got their money from all the people in the crowd.
Right.
Right? And then lastly, he became the king of continuity cash flow. What does it say? It says they paid him a rate year by year. He didn't charge him once. They came back and paid him over and over and over and over and over again. So if you all add those three pillars to your business, then you have exactly the same model set up. And the more you study the business model of King Solomon and the more you understand it, like I did some research on the Queen of Sheba. I think I mentioned this yesterday. I did some research. I don't know if it was in this group or from my earlier coaching call, but I did some research. The Queen of Sheba, the scripture says, paid King Solomon 120 talents of gold. So I did the math on that because I did research, how much is a talent, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's what I found out. 120 talents of gold is somewhere in today's dollars between 250 and 270 million dollars from one client. But all the kings of the earth came and paid him. Well, no wonder he was the richest man in the world. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Cool.
And yes, that was helpful. As far as the model that I was talking about, I was trying to see, okay, I can offer the coaching, but how about the structure of it, right? Like, should I just say it's coaching, or should it be a couple of
Well,
trips,
it
or
depends. How much are you thinking about charging for it, Matthew?
for the type of crowd that I have right now?
Has nothing to do with it.
Probably.
Has nothing to do with it.
Okay. All right.
You're making up a story about them without even having that conversation with them. But go ahead. Tell me anyway.
All right. I was thinking 10 to 12,000.
Okay, cool, cool. So 10 to 12,000. So how I would set that up is I would have maybe 2 live masterminds per year. I would
Okay.
have some training material that teaches them the core principles, and
Yeah.
then maybe do a group coaching call once or twice a month. And
Yeah.
like, I would not do all that work for 12,000, but I would
Sure.
charge
Sure.
more. But
Sure.
like my model for my $55,000 coaching program, right? For my $55,000 coaching program, they get to come to my Stage Selling Secrets, which was a 2-day event where I teach people how to sell from stage. Then they get to come to Mount the Millions, where I teach them my premium value offer framework, like the whole thing for 2 whole days. And then they get an office hours call every other Monday for about an hour. And so, and that's what they get for 55 grand. So they get to come to 2 Stage Selling Secrets and 2 Mount the Millions per year, and they get access to office hours every other Monday.
Got it.
There's 0 one-on-one coaching in that for me, because I don't like one-on-one coaching is inefficient. I mean, I could have just, yeah, you could have paid me 40,000, and that would have been a little better for me. And then I could have given you the same answer, but all these people would have missed out on your answer, and you would have missed out on all their answers. So you can see clearly how group coaching is highly more efficient and
Right.
more effective for the people who are being coached than one-on-one coaching is. It's
Right.
more valuable.
Yeah.
Great stuff, Matthew. Hope it
Thank
helps,
you.
brother.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
My pleasure, Governor.
Thank you. Next up, we have Daniel.